Welcome to the 9 DCX Conflicts and Awards at the Novotel. On behalf of Gain Skills Business Media, thank you for sparing your time and joining us today. This event is a vital platform for collaboration and knowledge sharing in a dynamic field of digital customer experience. The role of the customer experience leaders has evolved, making them essential partners in driving organizational success and innovation. Today, we'll hear from the industry thought leaders who will share insights and address the challenges faced by the professionals in this space. We will also celebrate the remarkable achievements of individuals and organizations in digital customer experience. Now, it's my honor to introduce our first keynote speaker, Mr. Rupesh Nirgude, Chief Information and Digital Officer at Prism Johnson Limited. Can we have a big round of applause for Mr. Nirgude? His session is going to be on optimizing customer experience through 360-degree digital transformation, collaboration between humans and machine. Mr. Rupesh Nirgude is the Chief Information and Digital Officer at Prism Johnson Limited, bringing over 22 years of IT experience to the role. A seasoned technology leader, he specializes in digital transformation, IT operations, and project management across diverse industries, including FMCG and building materials. Mr. Rupesh has a proven track record of leveraging technologies to drive sustainable business growth and achieve organizational KPIs. He has successfully led projects involving emerging technologies such as SAP, ERP, CRM, IoT, HCM, DMS, and cloud migration. His extensive domain experience in sales, combining with exceptional leadership skills, has been instrumental in implementing large-scale digital transformation initiatives within the sales and logistics sectors, positioning organization for success, future success. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Divya. Thank you for the nice introduction. So, without much of taking much of time, we'll directly jump to the presentation. It's good morning to you all, and it's nice to see all of you. Considering that this is the last month of this year, still we are on a working day. It's good to see the you people here to attend these sessions. Yeah. So. To talk on the customer experiences is more to share my experience with you, because when we talk of customer experience, it's a very vast subject, and when we talk to digital customer experience, it will also vary from industry to industry, where your basically when we talk of this, let's take the context of the basics of, first let's start with the basics of customer experience, because if you go a few decades back, we'll find that this terminology was not existing. So let's take a very basic example of a banking industry. So decades back, if you see the banking industry, how the banking industry has evolved is the bankers used to be the king in the market. So irrespective whether you are a rich person or a poor person, it was the banker who had the attitude, who had the say, and we used to go to the banks for even small things, like if you recall, whether it was just depositing a check or updating your passbooks, you used to go and stand in a queue. So that point of time, no one thought from the banking industry nor from the customer side that there something called as experience has to be delivered. It was the size of the business and which was taking the center seat. How do you increase on your branches? How do you spread out across the country? So the customer was never in the focus. But then suddenly we have seen that over a period, this has all changed and the customer has come to the forefront or at the center stage. So how this has happened? So if you look at the same case of the banking industry, you'll see that it started with the automation process. So as the bank started growing, number of with the policies changing, the private banking sector opening up, competition increasing, the bank started to, like the any other industry, banks also started to innovate and wanted to differentiate themselves. So when they started differentiating, they started with offering different services. And as technology started advancing, making use of the right technology, like to start with, it was the ATM. So that it was talked, what was talked about was the convenience banking. So it was not again customer centric, but convenience banking to reduce the cost of the banking transactions, but not talking about the from outside in view. It was still an inside out view, that how do I reduce my cost, how do I be more profitable. So per transaction cost of having a teller and this for banking operations, like particularly the repetitive ones like cash dispensing and other things. Now over a period of what we have seen is, with this, over a period again these type of services become very standard services, basic services, which the customer started then demanding that okay, this has to be there. A bank who is not having an ATM was not thought about, where is the ATM. And if you don't have an ATM, if you don't provide online banking a few years after when the dot-com era started. So these were the basic services which were provided. Over a period, what has happened, the customer has now taken the, people started, the industry, entire industry, whether it is banking or any FMCG, people started talking about the customer centricity. So when you talk of customer centricity, the customer comes in the center stage. And then the race started, that how do I satisfy the customer more? Now, how do I differentiate myself from the others? I should not be looked as a Me Too type of player in the market. So how do I differentiate myself? And that is where the technology played a critical role, or very came as an enabler to all these strategies which the marketing people or the boardroom people were discussing about. How do I differentiate myself? What additional I can give? And as a result, people or the entire theme has changed from customer centricity to customer experience. Now we are talking about customer experience. And in this, if you look at it, the digital strategy or the digital tools play a very critical role. Because now we are in an era where we don't have to do physical things. The number of physical interactions has come down. With the help of, or with the advent of the technology, internet and mobile, people are now getting used to all digital touch points. So that's also providing a lot of ease, convenience, but as well as the challenges to you. So let's look at some of the, so today's banking scenario, I need not to repeat that, but you see that everything is available. Means you don't have to even go to the bank to open a bank account, whether it is start opening an account or applying for a loan. Everything is been done digital. So, and if you, many of you must have recalled, when Citibank started in India, they had started only with one branch in Fort, somewhere in Fort, but they could not establish themselves. Whereas at that point of time, they were one of the largest banking in US and other things, but then they had automated systems, but in India they could not, because that point of time also personal banking was something which was, people had never thought about, that I should not go, means could not think about the idea that without going to a bank, I can do everything online. So now what has happened? So over a period, if you look at the what is happening is, what has caused this change, and it's like the horse and the cart. What comes first? Whether the customer comes first or the technology comes first, tools comes first. So it's obviously the customer comes first. And we have also seen in different industries that one who has used, who have been putting in a lot of investments in technology without thinking about what the objectives are not doing that great. But those who are doing a study and pulling the right, taking the right calls at the right time, using the right technology, are doing extremely good. Now let's take off, since we are talking about the finance industry, let's talk about Bajaj Finance. They call themselves as digital company and not as a finance company. The reason is that at any stage, if you go, they have digitized all the touch points. And they were the first ones, pioneers in this, to have having online KYC, giving you instant loans. So this has set a new trend in the, and if you see, the same thing is happening across all your digital touch points in the customer experience field. Now, whether we talk about FMCG company, whether we talk about banking or manufacturing, customer experience is getting the attention. And when we talk about digital strategy, everyone in the boardroom first will ask that, what are going to the returns? How do I, increase my sales? What is the benefit I'm going to get? And this is an area where you can quickly get some returns, because obviously if you acquire digital acquisition of the customers, that will result into your a high number of sales. So what role is the customer playing? Now, customer has also realized that experience, he's not talking about what is the experience I'm getting. Takes the our own experience. When we are going for a shopping in a mall, we are talking about not of, how many outlets are there, which brands are there, but we are talking about that what is the experience I'm going to get in the mall, whether all the facilities are available over there. We want to have entertainment, we want to have different brands, all type of, how do I feel when I go there, whether there is a meeting point over there where I can catch up with my friends. So this is the entire thing is now getting converted into customer experience theme. Now, when we talk about digital customer experience, we have to understand that how do we, today's customer is not, they are very knowledgeable. With the help of the technology, they are also demanding certain things. They are trying to set their own standards somewhere in the back of the mind. Like, if you look at us for manufacturing companies, it's very tough for them to have all those touch points digitized, because the customer is thinking that if a FMCG company or a banking company gives me those touch points, why not a manufacturing industry? Yeah. So they want everything to be online. Just let's take an example of how a customer journey, how does the customer go through his digital journey? Normally, people go on to the Google, Amazon, do their research, what they have to buy. They will take help from those sources, and then they'll try to make up their mind, okay, that narrow down to the decision making part by doing some comparison with different different products, we can say. Now, after that comes to the buying experience or the buying activity. So that's the real challenge for any organization, to acquire the customer. How do I acquire the customer from the internet, from Google, to onto my site and make him, buy my product? Because at the end of it, when you talk about digital the experience, it's not just for the sake of giving an experience to a customer. In the returns are also involved. Why do you want to do this? Is basically you want to also grow providing these services. So when we talk about this journey, it's important to see that how do you track the journey of the customers? How do you handle him, track all your touch points, digitize all your touch points? And there are various ways of doing it, or rather I would say different tools are available, different technologies are available, but then choosing the right technologies and tools will all depend on your own industries where you are present, what offerings you are going to provide, and of course the processes which you are having. Because many a times you'll see that the basic processes are not in place. You may have the tools in place. Let's take a simple example of a CRM, which is very common tool when we talk of digital transformation. So, and typically you'll see the CRM vendors coming and pitching and giving you, giving flashy presentations talking about the ROIs. But do you really have all the processes, touch points knitted to each other, stitched to each other? Because when we talk of customers CRM, it's not only of the tool which is given to the sales guys, but it starts right from acquiring your customers online in today's era, to offline acquisition, where your sales guys are going, you are enabling them, empowering them with a tool, capturing, helping them to capture the leads, helping them to connect with the back office operations so that they can get faster responses. And then the entire, all these data, touch points or data which has been captured from different touch points are stored into one particular single data silo, where it is used by all the different touch points, the people at the different touch points. Like a customer may also call your helpline to get some information. Now, how do you track this journey? Do you want him to be started from where, from the scratch, asking that who you are, or whether you want to asking, inquiring about his this thing, or a customer starting from where he was left in that particular journey by your sales guy, because your sales guy might have pitched something to that particular customer, and he at that point of time, being a cold lead, he might have dropped it. Afterwards, when the customer is again interested, he might come to you. Now, at that point of time, the organizations who are in a position to identify the customer, saying that, okay, having this information that, okay, this customer has inquired with me, and giving the personalized experience, that calling that, identifying the customer by his name, knowing his background, that what he has inquired for, and then say, taking the decision or the discussion forward from there, saying that, okay, how can I help you? Last time you had inquired for this, so do you want me to give you more information on that? That is something which will deliver the customer experience which he is experiencing. And this is what I think everyone, each of us will also be expecting the same thing, that if you are buying on a journey where you want to buy something, you will go to the net, do some research. For some reasons you might have postponed the decisions, and then when you go back to the particular, identified a particular brand, and when you directly go and approach them on their site or on the help center, you would like them to be greeted as if they know you and take the journey forward. And this is what the challenge is. There is where the challenge lies, because depending on your organization size, your budget, you will have to invest a lot in digitizing all these touch points, having this information, and then proactively helping your touch points at that. Maybe it is a call center person who is behind the desk, or it is your sales guy, or it is your dealer or a distributor. Having this information and taking the journey forward. And this is what today is being demanded. Any buyer or customer wants to have a personalized experience, because we all talk of experiences, customer experience and other things, but how do you differentiate those experiences is also important. And that is where it is important to understand what takes into that. How are we in the back end? How are we having all the different processes integrated with each other? The data been flowing from different silos, because if you today see any organizations, there are different data silos. A salesperson going into the market, capturing the leads, they will have his own data silo though if you have a CRM application. The service guy or the person collecting the feedback, or they will have their own data silos. And hardly you will find any organization who is doing analytics based on all this data which has been collected, whether it is online data where he's giving you feedback on your social media handles, or whether he is coming to your internet and trying to find out doing some research on your website to search for a product, and looking at your data from your sales, that which type of product have been sold, which market has been sold, and what is the persona of the customer to whom they have been sold. So if you look at all these touch points holistically, you'll get some patterns, and that's what will help you to identify that how do you deliver the customer experience. Because when we talk about that, again, you have to then start segmenting, and the basic things also have to be in place, like the website, because most of them, if you are having customers who are coming to the internet, doing some research, and then from there you are pulling them to your website. Next is what type of experience is he having on the website, because when he comes to your website, this means he has taken some decision of buying a product, and also 50% the chances are that he has made up his mind on a brand. Then he's coming to your website. Now when he comes to your website, that experience is something which is important to be delivered, because he expects the same thing, that if he wants to compare within your brands 4 different type of categories. If, say, classic example is that someone wants to do a painting of his house, and he goes to the website of a paint company. He wants to have very simple options, that what type of paint has to be applied, and how does he take the decisions. Now for that, if you have, it's like ordering a pizza, and where you don't know what are the ingredients, and you ask him that, okay, now here there is a complete platter and menu, and you go and search, he'll get confused and he'll drop from there. But over there you will have to design the website such that he is guided through that with the basic steps, that whether he wants to have and nowadays there are a lot of tools available, technologies available where you can integrate it. So the website becomes a very key pillar in your digital tools for the digital transformation, because the website gives you a lot of insights. That's one first step where you are capturing the digital footprint of your customers, help you to understand his behavior. If you are able to take him through, you can help him to navigate through your website, understanding which sections is he visiting, what type of queries he is putting on to, and what is his intent. But there is a lot of thought process which has to be behind the design of that particular website. Same goes with applications as well. If you have a mobile application where you are asking him to download it and go through the mobile apps, that gives more of a personalized, because you know who is the person who is there. Now again, certain categories you will find different personas are there, like within the same buyer community. You have to also understand that whether it is a B2B or a B2C type of customer. If you talk of B2C, in B2C there are more of emotions which are attached. The decisions are to be taken very faster. Whereas in a B2B type of case, say for example, someone is looking at, an interior designer is coming onto your site and he wants to understand about the product. So he is there to, he's an expert in his area. He knows about the products. Now what he's looking at is that whether your product meets the feature list which he's asking for, or there's something which he doesn't know. And how do you highlight those features in that particular thing? So, and unless you have that experience given to him and in an easy manner, it's difficult for him to take a decision. And if he doesn't find that, he will drop from your site and he'll go to some other competitor's site. So when we talk of these challenges, so website becomes one of the challenge. Then you have multiple touch points, as I said that, coming back to the engagement. Now, second is that how do you convert this visits into more of engagement with the customer? So when we talk of engagement, he would like to have more information of the product or information of the services which you are providing. So do you have the right channels where you can capture these inputs from him? Now these inputs may not be he may not be coming onto your websites only. There may be others other channels like the social media channel, the Instagram, where he is looking at asking you information. And those informations, it's critical to also have those inputs to understand what your customer is looking at, because you also have to understand your customer's persona is changing based on the market requirements or with the time. And your tools may not be able to only, the digital tool will not help you to give this information about the changing in the persona. It has to be, there has to be some in-depth study analysis to be done on that front. So, because those becomes a critical input for your marketing teams as well as your digital teams to enhance their product list or the features on the site or even in the product. So that's another thing. And the messaging. So messaging expectations, many times we underscore this particular requirement, but it's very important. Let's take an example of the banking itself. Today, we are expecting if I am swiping my card, I get the information instantly. That gives me a assurance that, okay, it's a safe banking transaction which has been done. There has, the transaction has, whether it is passed through or it is not passed through. Also, if there are new features which have been launched by your product team, you can communicate those features to him, because once he gets associated with a brand, it has to be looked with a brand, not with a particular channel, but it's a brand. And when you are talking about a brand, it's like he or she is expecting same type of inputs from the brand. So if you have launched a new product, new features to the brand, you can send some messages through either through emails or something. If he's really appreciating your brand, he'll become your brand ambassador. Because take for example the peer references which someone is, if there are different categories of products where people buy, and when they are referring to their peers, if you have a particular brand, you are using that brand, and he or she is engaged with the brand and gets to know, okay, there are 10 new features which are launched, they will promote that, saying that, okay, this is a good brand I have used, and now you see there are 10 more features which are available. So the journey normally doesn't end when the sale is been done. You have to continuously keep on, and that's the beauty of digital tools, because you can do it with very low cost. Your sales guy doesn't have to keep on calling the customer asking that, okay, are you also looking for an upgrade, or are you also looking for, these type of digital channels can help him to remain connected with the customers, get the input and feedback, and then that can be fed into your lead management strategy or your marketing strategy. So I think at the end, we also have to understand about how humans play a role in this context, because many a times when we talk of digitization, digital transformation, we look only from the point of view, how do I reduce my cost, how do I reduce my number of people. But let's take an example of the hospitality industry, hospitals, hotels. Imagine everything is been digitized, and you go to the bank, or you go to a hotel, and you are greeted by a robot. Or you have been given few years back when people were talking about complete automation, and they were talking about when the customer walks into the hotel, he'll get a message, or he's asked to download an app, and he'll give all the information over there. He doesn't even have to go to the reception. Just the keys on everything will be available, digital keys will be available on his app. He can directly go to this. Now imagine you are in a situation where you are landed in a city where you go from the airport and checking in. What type of environment would you like to have? You need to have some human face smiling at you, talking to you, greeting you. Yes, you don't want to have the hassle where you are asked to wait for in a queue for where there are 10 people ahead of you. You don't want for simple things to be dependent on them, like what are the features available. You would like to have that on your mobile phone, but the human interaction is very key. So ultimately, when I started my career in sales 15-20 years back, I was told that people buy from people, irrespective of whatever you're selling. It's people buy from people. So how do you sell? It depends on the interaction which you're having. And I think for the brands, even today, it's important. You have to have some sort of human interface in somewhere in this chain of this customer engagement or customer experience, because the back-end processes can be digitized, that can be completely digitized, but when it comes to the interfacing with the customers, you have to have online help, you have to have someone at the desk where he can reach out in case of any difficulties. So I think I have shared with you what I have learned in my journey. If you have any, I would love to have some queries from you, questions from you. That is what I had to talk on today. So any questions? Yeah. So I think we done. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you for being patient and listening to me.
Thank you so much for the wonderful insights. And I would like to call upon stage Mr. Navratan Bohra, VP Digital Initiatives, OPS and IT at Anand Rathi and Stockbrokers Limited to do the honors. Can we have a big round of applause?